The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. The government to try to avoid a BPL fuel hike. The Prime Minister says Bahamians can't afford more taxes at this time. That fuel cost rise decision was not approved by Cabinet. How did this happen? And more reaction to climate change worries in the country and for the world. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Happy Ash Wednesday to all of you listening today. Also, coming up in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association, auto dealers in the country, seeking price control reform and more. We're going to be talking about that this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, pointing to the rising cost of oil, Prime Minister Philip Davis promising that his administration will do all it can to prevent an increase in the cost of electricity, arguing that Bahamians cannot afford to be burdened with more taxes. Davis's pledge coming after BPL, Bahamas Power and Light, issued a statement on Monday stating that the cost of the fuel charge was going to increase March 1st. But Minister of Works and Utilities Alfred Sears says that when he saw the statement, he immediately called the chairman of BPL, and that statement was recalled later that day. Davis, who's in Belize for the 33rd intercessional meeting of the heads of government of CARICOM, saying, quote, "My government will do its endeavor best to ensure that the rise in gas prices around the world will not have a deleterious effect on our people. Lord knows that our people could least afford to have more taxes or more costs visited upon their backs. My government will do all in its power to see how we can avert raising the cost of electricity on our people. As soon as I am back in the Bahamas, we will be sitting down to brainstorm to see how we can best do that." Davis's promise also following Russia's invasion of Ukraine last week. Russia, the third largest oil producer and second largest oil exporter in the world, shortly after Russia's attack, oil prices rose beyond $100 a barrel, the highest level since 2014. Prior to that, oil had been trending toward a 7-year high already. At last report, gas prices in the country standing at or ranging from $5.16 to $5.37 in New Providence. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell condemning Russia's attack, warning that gas prices at home may rise as high as $8. In its recall statement, BPL said customers' fuel charge will increase from 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour to 13.7 cents per kilowatt hour. It said that, quote, "We could wait until July 1st, 2022 to adjust the fuel cost, but doing so would mean a higher per kilowatt hour increase, 15 cents per kilowatt hour instead of 13.7 cents per kilowatt hour." Now, last July, BPL said its fuel charge will remain at 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour until June 2022. Meanwhile, Works Minister Sayers saying that decision was premature from BPL to announce that the fuel charge would increase. Sayers telling reporters yesterday that the matter had not been approved by Cabinet, and the Cabinet had not considered increasing the cost of the rate increase in electricity in the country. Bahamas National Trust Director Eric Carey says that much more needs to be done in the Bahamas to plan for the reality of the impacts that climate change will bring. He said, quote, "We need to be talking and thinking and acting on this climate change threat very seriously as if our lives depend on it, because guess what? Our lives do depend on it." His comments coming after a report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations warned that further delays in global action on climate change, adaptation, and mitigation will miss a brief and rapidly closing window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future for all. A woman dropping a domestic violence case against her husband, whom she previously described as controlling, a woman telling Assistant Chief Magistrate Supasola Swain that she no longer wanted to proceed with the grievous harm case against her husband. According to her, she wanted to work on her marriage. If Swain had convicted her husband, he could have faced up to 7 years in prison. And Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville says the Royal Bahamas Police Force is investigating the falsification of COVID-19 vaccination cards. Darville says they're getting more and more information through the vaccination committee that some cards are showing up in the system that are not specific to where the vaccinations were done. He says it's against the law for this to be happening and for print shops that are taking part in this to be doing so. He warned them to stop immediately. Overseas, Ukraine's leader decrying Russia's escalation of attacks on crowded cities as a blatant terror campaign, while U.S. President Joe Biden warned that if the Russian leader didn't pay a price for the invasion, the aggression wouldn't stop with just one country. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky vowing after Tuesday's bloodshed on the central square of Kharkiv, saying, quote, "Nobody will forgive, nobody will forget." Kharkiv is the country's second largest city, and the deadly bombing of a TV tower in the capital happened earlier in the week. Zelensky calling the attack on the square a, quote, "frank, undisguised terror and a war crime." The assault on Kharkiv continued today, even as Russia said it would be ready to resume talks with the Ukrainian side in the evening. A Russian strike on the regional police and intelligence headquarters wounded a number of people. The strike blew off the roof of the police building and set the top floor on fire, and pieces of the 5-story building were strewn across adjacent streets, according to videos and photos released by the emergency service in the country. In Wednesday's strikes, 4 people died, 9 were wounded, and rescuers pulled 10 people out of the rubble. U.S. President Biden used his first State of the Union address to highlight the resolve of the reinvigorated Western alliance that has worked to rearm the Ukrainian military and adopt tough sanctions. Biden says those have left Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, "isolated in the world more than he has ever been." As Biden spoke, a 40-mile convoy of hundreds of Russian tanks and other vehicles advanced slowly to Kyiv, the capital of nearly 3 million people, in what the West feared was a bid by Putin to topple the government and install a Kremlin-friendly regime. The invading forces also pressed their assault on other towns and cities, including the strategic ports of Odessa and Mariupol in the south. As the 7th day of the war dawned today, Russia found itself increasingly isolated, though beset by the sanctions that have thrown its economy into turmoil and left the country practically friendless, apart from a few nations like China, Belarus, and North Korea. A leading Russian bank, Sberbank, announced today that it's pulling out of European markets amid the tightening Western sanctions. In sports, Major League Baseball, as Commissioner Rob Manfred stood behind a podium in the left field corner of Roger Dean Stadium, announced that the opening day was canceled, a cluster of fans gathered outside the spring training home of the Miami Marlins and St. Louis Cardinals. They had something to say as well, chanting, quote, "We want baseball, but they won't get it anytime soon." With owners and players unable to agree on a labor contract to replace the collective bargaining agreement expired December 1st, Manfred followed through with his threat and canceled the first two series for each of the 30 major league teams. The announcement Tuesday cut each club's schedule from 162 games to likely 156 at most. A total of 91 games were erased. More than pure numbers are a cause for the contention. Players are seething over their allegations of service time manipulation and Major League Baseball's increased number of rebuilding clubs, which the union calls tanking. Issues such as the size and format of the postseason have become divisive. There's also the luxury tax issue, which might be the single most difficult one. MLB proposed raising the tax threshold from $210 million to $220 million in each of the next 3 seasons, $224 million in 2025 and $230 million in 2026. A higher threshold likely would lead to more spending by large market teams such as the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox and LA Dodgers. Players are unhappy over how the tax system worked during the last labor contract, which included surtaxes to discourage high spending. Players have asked for a $238 million threshold this year, $244 million in 2023, $250 million in 2024, $256 million in 2025, and $263 million in 2026. The union aims higher to encourage teams to boost payrolls and salaries. Meanwhile, Manfred says that players will not receive salary or major league service for games missed, exacerbating already visceral anger of the roughly 1,200 players locked into a contest of will against 30 controlling owners. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a weak cold front near the southeast Bahamas now. That's going to continue to dissipate as high pressure builds behind it. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, we're looking at variable cloudiness and warm conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers, mainly across the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly fair and mild with possible showers near the frontal boundary tonight. For boaters, a small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. 71 degrees right now under partly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 63 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF mutual funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards. Good morning, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Hope you're doing well on this Ash Wednesday.
It's a beautiful Ash Wednesday.
Happy Ash Wednesday to you. And happy Lent. Is it? Yes? Can you say that? No? Don't say it. It's not happy because everyone gives up stuff. Good. What?
Yeah. You give up something else?
Was it? Oh, happy journey? Okay. Happy journey, I'm told. Yes, good luck. Good luck during these 40 plus or 40 odd days to Easter. But yeah, great to have you with us as always, Chester. We have a lot to get to this morning. And we'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit. And but coming up, we're going to be talking about what's in the news, a lot to get to, as we said. And later in Morning Blend Business, we're talking with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association. They've got some concerns, as you all know. We've talked to them before. But they also want some reforms for the sector, including some price control reform. They'll talk about why that's important this morning. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, we talked about it yesterday, that very odd statement from BPL announcing a fuel rate increase that was supposed to go into effect yesterday, March 1st. This came out on Monday and it was quickly recalled, and they advised the media to disregard the statement. But by then, it had already been published on social media, but so people are like, well, what is this all about? And apparently, the government was also, what is this all about? That was also their response to this. We learned more about this yesterday, getting reaction from the Works Minister and from the Prime Minister about this. For more, take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
The Cabinet has not considered increasing the cost or the rate of electricity in the Bahamas, and therefore it is premature.
Sarah's comments came after BPL sent out a press release just before 5 p.m. on Monday, making a case for a hike in electricity bills. Just under an hour later, that release was recalled.
As the responsible minister, I spoke with the chairman, and that statement was recalled.
What did that conversation sound like for it to be retracted almost immediately?
Well, first of all, it would be inappropriate for me to give the details but I had a conversation with the chairman, and it was revoked within a matter of an hour. And I'm grateful for that.
The release indicated BPL customers will experience a rise in fuel costs of 3.2 cents per kilowatt hour beginning March 1st, 2022. It also cited a rise in global oil prices over the last 18 months, which now stands at over $100 a barrel. Sarah says he was surprised by the move, but admits he spoke with the current BPL chairman about the issue last week.
The matter was raised with me by the chairman last week, and I spoke very briefly with the Prime Minister, and the Cabinet has not had an opportunity as the shareholder of BPL, also as the backstop supplier, because the hedge, which stabilizes the price of electricity, that is provided by the government, so the people of the Bahamas.
According to the Works and Utilities Minister, the Davis administration is not turning a blind eye to the high price of energy in the country. He says a cabinet subcommittee has also been set up to look into short-term and long-term fixes for energy costs. Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. I want to get to what the Prime Minister says in just a bit, but let's go back to the statement that BPL issued and why it wanted to increase this rate, this fuel charge, on March 1st, right? In the statement, it said, quote, "We could wait until July 1st, 2022 to adjust the fuel cost, but doing so would mean a higher per kilowatt hour increase, 15 cents per kilowatt hour, instead of 13.7 cents per kilowatt hour. And it would come in the summertime when consumption is highest, which would be much more challenging for many customers. We know no one wants to see a rise in costs, but putting the increase in place now, when the energy use is significantly less than during peak season, enables a lower increase to be spread over a longer period of time and eases the impact to customers' monthly energy costs." Okay. All right, so you heard the statement from you heard what the minister had to say, Minister Sears, and obviously BPL has been talking to the government about this, but the government just didn't agree to do it. But the statement was sent out anyway. It's very curious. Very curious. What do you make of that, Chester? Hearing what the minister said, and now looking back, because yesterday on Monday, what? But now it's like, was this intentional? Was this an intentional leak, knowing that it likely would be recalled, but to see that this is a warning from somebody at BPL that this is coming, and this is going to happen regardless of what anybody wants to happen or not, and it might be beneficial to do it now as opposed to later when you will feel it more? Or was it just rogue operatives who just don't care?
So you think the release was subterfuge?
Now it's looking pretty weird. I wasn't thinking that yesterday. I just thought it was like these people can't get it together. But now I have to wonder.
One would think that they wouldn't be at this level of not having it together.
Right? But I mean, but you don't expect much from the company after all the years.
Again, that's the other problem.
Mm-hmm.
We should expect more, but why don't we?
Right. But now I have to wonder. This is, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, because aren't there several layers, right? Don't they have to go through IRCA as well?
Perhaps, yeah, I believe so. Well, I mean, the fuel cost is maybe a little bit different from the rate, but maybe. I don't think you can do anything about that. That's the fuel cost. I don't know if that comes before IRCA. I'm not too sure. But if it were a rate,
one would think it still wouldn't be so unilateral. We would have heard them talk about it, discuss it,
right?
Say, "Well, this is coming," and
right, exactly. Not tomorrow. The prices, no, right? Huh? All right, very interesting. Now, I wasn't going to play it, but maybe I should. There's a statement from the chairman of the PLP, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, every morning. His voice notes.
The 4 a.m.
Yes,
voice notes?
the one this morning is quite interesting, and he seems to be suggesting that there are forces within BPL, mischief makers, trying to be troublesome, and that the government is facing, I don't want to paraphrase this, maybe I should just play it, hey? But there are people who are working against the government from within, and these are the challenges they face as a government, as an administration. Huh? Yeah. All right. Let's see. Should we play that? Yeah, let me send it to the producer. So let's get your reaction to this, and then we'll get to the Prime Minister, and then we'll get to what the chairman had to say. He's in Belize, so some of it isn't quite related to this, but it's interesting. But let's hear what you have to say. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right. We'll read some messages as I send this. This is a 4-minute, nearly 5-minute. Oh, my goodness. This is long. So, okay. Well, we're going to get this together. And
there have been operatives keeping us away from affordable electricity and reliable electricity for a very long time. So even if he thinks there's operatives now going against the PLP, there's been operatives in the government and BPL going against the Bahamian populace for a very long time.
Maybe. Let's read some messages. This one says here, if it's one thing that BPL's announcement yesterday reinforces, it's that everyone has been saying all along regarding inflation. It seems businesses are using the expectation that prices will go up as a signal to raise prices earlier than necessary, all in an effort to further boost profits while hiding behind this excuse. I mean, okay, you might be right about that, but I don't know if that's what's happening with the BPL statement. And profits. Okay. I don't know if you can say that and BPL in the same sentence these days, but okay. But they go on to say, as Michael Jackson said, quote, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. All right. This person says here...
What an appropriate song to play.
Yeah? Okay, maybe we will. This one says, riddle me this, Dwight. The PM is so concerned about the amount of taxes on Bahamians when it was him who just put 10% across the board on us. Well, it was also 2% reduced on more things than what the 10% went on. But I hear you. Okay. But they go on to say, man, I swear these clowns pander to their base only. Such a caring guy, carry on smartly. And then they also say, so the chairman will be thrown under the bus because he will only hear from the government side, not the poor executives who will not be allowed to speak. And another one here, there's nothing about the cost of electricity going up, seeing that the price of oil worldwide is increasing. The Prime Minister is flamming the public just like he did with the food store owners. What did he do with this? We're done with the meeting with the wholesale. As we can see, nothing came out of that meeting. It's political meddling like this that helped to get BPL in the mess that it's in. Okay. Let's take a listen to this. It's very long. I don't want to get to all of it. I may cut it as soon as we can. But let's play what the chairman of the PLP
Good morning.
had to say.
The Progressive Liberal Party, Minister for the Public Service and Foreign Affairs, and today is Wednesday, the 2nd of March, 2022. It's Ash Wednesday, so the Prime Minister and I are devout Anglicans, and there's no Anglican chapel where we are in San Pedro in Belize, so we'll probably have to go hunting for a Catholic church for the administration of ashes. Remember, man, thou art dust, and unto dust thou shalt return. The CARICOM heads of government meeting in its second day. Last evening, the leaders got a briefing on the security situation in the region. In other words, it's not stable. You have the United States on one hand, manufacturing masses of guns which are killing our young people. The U.S. is doing very little about it to help with that problem. Then you have the story about the Russians flying into one of the hemispheric states with bombers that can carry nuclear weapons. You have the Russians picking on a smaller state with a massive invasion, and its leader is saying that any country that interferes with it will see the likes of which they've never seen before. He then puts his nuclear arsenal on alert. So the leaders here in the Caribbean want to know directly from the source if the Caribbean is used to fight a war with nuclear weapons. Our own Prime Minister wants to know if he and his CARICOM leaders can work together to stop our young men from killing each other in an avalanche of American-made guns. While we were here, BPL sent out an unauthorized press release that they were hiking the electricity rates. The Prime Minister reversed it right away. It never came to the Cabinet, and it never got the approval of IRCA. They must have heard or gotten instructions from someone else, but the minister told them to stand down, and yet they did it anyway. This is the story with the PLP. It appears that 6 months into the general election, it appears that even though the PLP holds the political reins of power, someone else is pulling the strings. And what is interesting, of course, as I contemplate on all of this, is the meeting here in Belize. And that is, we people in the Caribbean, we're all different. We have different roles, but we're still here. I remember my friend Godfrey Smith. I met him last night at a reception. He was foreign minister when I first came here almost 20 years ago, and he's now a senior counsel and a former judge. His wife is a Speaker of the House here. Lisa Showman, who's the former foreign minister, was the former wife of Damien Gomez.
Yeah, okay, the rest of that. Sure. Okay, so, hey, I even missed the gun part. That's a whole... What? We'll get back to that. That's really interesting. So we're blaming the Americans for the... Oh, okay. Yeah?
For part of it.
Okay.
For part of it.
Okay. What are they doing? They advertising to kids? They putting the... Trying to... Well... Okay. Anyway, you heard what he said, huh? We get back to that.
Gun manufacturing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So are we going to blame, because people like to talk about the little hatchback, the little cars, so we're going to say Japan needs to do something about the little crazy cars that make Bahamians drive crazy? It's the exact same thing, Chester.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes.
Let's move on.
Oh, yes.
Let's go back
Oh,
to
yes.
BPL.
Why do you want a gun? You got to deal with that. Deal with your people. But anyway, let's get back to BPL. That's a whole other show. That's you already said there are forces within BPL and I guess throughout the whole government working against them. Mm-hmm.
Since the election.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend.
Good morning, sir. On a serious day.
Hi.
Ash Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday, I call it.
Oh.
I can relate to the foreign minister's presentation because we in this region are non-aligned. We are not pro the Soviet Union or pro-American, even though we are near to America. And perhaps in a comprehensive statement, that's the way the gun situation came in, that the guns are made in America. That's a prime problem, a crime, and also the situation about unauthorized announcements of BPL rates and all of that. So I can relate to what he's saying because it will be affecting the majority of the Yemen as presented.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I noticed the chairman mentioned something about someone else is pulling the strings, and I think he should have gone a little further with that, because if we had campaign finance reform, we will know who's actually pulling their strings.
Oh dear.
All right, because if I fortified your campaign, you're a puppet when you win, and we have been doing this cycle of puppeteering from I can remember when I was a child. Now, could he now then reveal who finances their campaign so that when they win, they sit back and listen to the one who's pulling the strings? Could that happen, please?
We can ask.
We'll ask him to reveal that, since he has so much to say. You know, I'm so glad he's not talking too much.
But you know, the last time he was on the show, he did talk about that, about campaign finance reform. And
yeah, but did he reveal who's financing their campaigns? Because they certainly don't have enough money to win it all the time.
They did say that is something they intend to do this term. They want to see that.
Yeah, and then promise for the next term. Listen, man. Anyway, have a good day.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot. All right, so let's get to what the Prime Minister had to say, right? So in Belize, you know, they must have been shocked out of their minds to see this, like, what? And so he says the government his administration will do all it can to prevent an increase in the cost of electricity, arguing that Bahamians cannot afford to be burdened with more taxes. Our Travis Cartwright-Carroll writing about this in today's Nassau Guardian. Of course, this pledge coming after this. Is it a debacle yet? Can we use that word? Curious incident. How about that?
No, it's a debacle.
Debacle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, debacle with the.
You got a couple of parties bucking heads.
Statement gate, recall statement gate. And so Prime Minister Davis said, quote, "My government will do its endeavor best to ensure that the rise in gas prices around the world will not have a deleterious effect on our people. Lord knows that our people could least afford to have more taxes or more costs visited upon their backs. My government will do all in its power to see how we can avert raising the cost of electricity on our people. As soon as I am back in the Bahamas, we will be sitting down to brainstorm to see how we can best do that."
Ooh, brainstorm.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, let's hear what's going on here. More from you folks. Give us a call. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. But is there merit to what the statement said, that perhaps if this were to happen sooner than in the summer, this would lessen the impact of an increase at that time? Do you agree with that? Is that possible at all? Or will it not make a difference in just a longer period of paying more money?
Great question.
And if that were accurate, would you want to pay more now? If we could prove that would be the case, would you want to pay more now and that it would lessen the burden come the summer? Or you just want to cross that bridge when we get to the heat in the summer?
Cross that bridge when you get there.
Oh, that's what you're saying, Chester?
Yeah. Because, maybe oil prices will drop drastically. Maybe the whole world will shake hands and everything will be back at peace.
So you're willing to take that chance?
Well, we're willing to take the chance to raise it now.
Okay, that's an interesting point. Let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning, you're on Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys listened to the State of the Union address by the president last night, President Biden. Biden spoke about some of these same issues. But a statement he made that I thought was very important. He mentioned capitalism without competition and exploitation. And that's what's happening at BPL and the port in Grand Bahama and Freeport. That's what's happening. They have full autonomy over some things, but there's no competition, and so they have the right to hike prices and do as they see fit.
Yeah. Do you think we could handle a different utility, an electricity company here? Do you think that would... How would that work?
And another thing, he spoke about these makeshift guns that people can buy in the United States and assemble at home, and he's going to pass some laws to do his best to curtail that. So even though the Foreign Affairs Minister is speaking about guns coming from the United States, the President of the United States is very, very concerned about that and is trying to do his endeavor best to kind of curtail that.
Okay. We'll see what happens. We will see. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Chester.
Hi.
It's Alan Johnson, yes. Just a note on with a question you asked Mr. John Pender a few moments ago concerning competition. We're in the age of technology disruption, and the competition itself is self-generation. The problem is that the PPL doesn't have the proper infrastructure for transmission and distribution to accommodate virtual power generation as a collective. And so individuals are left with having extreme costs just to enter into the self-generation market, such as backup and batteries, whereas you have micro distribution networks, you have distributed energy, which is now becoming $1 billion business. And there's so much opportunity there and new problems. You yourself have heard me for almost a decade made an argument concerning these legacy debt, even the ones that are hidden, and the need to bring forth a smart grid system before the technology revolution accelerates. Well, we are in that process of acceleration where 90% of what we do is our energy base. And that conclude. And so when you start talking about technology, transformation, digitization, all of this is technology-based. When you talk about digitizing the economy and rebuilding the economy, it is energy-based. So the greatest problem facing the Bahamas today is the fact that we have the facilities to generate the electricity we need, but we have a system in place that the government itself is codependent upon carbon tax for its revenue. And so unless we actually have a conversation about an economic shift in the economy so that governments can be able to get its revenue from some other means, you will always have talk around actually moving to energy security and energy sovereignty. The Bahamas generates more than enough sunlight, wind, and tidal. If you look at Germany, Germany has moved its timeline from going 100% renewables to 2035 away from 2050. And so we just keep to ask yourself, why aren't we having these conversations as a broader prospect of how do we rethink our economy and integrate it into a 21st century environment as opposed to buying buckets and mops for this leaking tub or clogged tub. And so I think we need a broader conversation. And when you look at what you said, they're going to spread the cost out.
Yeah.
Hey, Chester, let me ask you a question. Do I charge you $10 a month for the next 6 months and then charge you $15 a month for 6 months, or do I just divide all them up and divide it? It doesn't matter. The net will be the same. The problem is not the fact that this was going to happen or will happen because we don't produce the oil or anything. The problem is that we are not talking about growing the economy while at the same time reducing costs. Growing the economy is the most important thing there is to help people pay for these inflationary costs for which we have no control. And I think that's a broader conversation we need to have.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, got a lot of great messages here. Someone says here, Dwight, why would you ever want to pay an increase now, not knowing what the future will hold? Russia may have to sell its oil resources at a discount by summer because no one in Europe will purchase from them, driving costs down. Yeah, that's very interesting. There's quite a possibility there. And as you said, things might have a come by moment over the next few weeks. Who knows? Who knows? This text here, I like religious Fred. I hope he finds a church. Can you imagine having to go to Catholic? Can you imagine an Anglican having to go to Catholic church? Good gracious. Do you do communion on Ash Wednesday morning? You do? They won't allow, you know that, right? The Catholic churches here won't allow us Anglicans to take communion in their church. Boy, I tell you. Anyway, Okay, this text here. I'm so used to BPL saying prices are going up. It's no difference. With or without the war going on, there's never any good news in this country. Oh, that's not true. What else is new? But what have we done over the years in terms of alternative energy? Absolutely nothing. Well, not enough. Not enough. Not enough. Ragged Island is up and running, right? Is it? Yep. Is it solar farm? It is, right? Yep. Yeah. So a little bit. Another one here. Perhaps we could reduce executive pay by the percentage of the increase. The problem is the decision makers don't have any skin in the game. Mm-hmm. Another one here. Who's the current CEO at BPL now? You mean since the statement? Or... It's still Whitney Hasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you know something we don't know. Okay. This one says here, the Dark Day crew is lost in space. I don't know who they're talking about. Okay. I guarantee you... I guarantee you he who suspended this portion of the taxes on fuel. What? Huh? What? Okay, I don't understand. Another one. The Prime Minister could talk until hell freezes over. There will be a rate increase. Face it. Okay. Happy Wednesday, Dwight and Chester. So he promised to do his best to avoid an increase. Doesn't mean that there will not be an increase. Okay, that's interesting. They'll do their best. Yes. Listen carefully. Another one. Because VAT was supposed to remove customs duties, go find out how much customs duties have gone up since VAT. It's not that these guys can't be trusted. It's that they will say anything, and they are incapable of strategic planning. Did you notice yesterday, suddenly we might be in trouble paying off debt in 3 months? For years, people have been warning, and they've been calling them crazy, just like the COVID messaging, everything good until it's not. This one says here, Anglicans are Catholics. You'll see in time.
What?
Well, okay. I don't know what you mean. But tell the Catholics that. I mean, we're all Christians, right? Aren't we all, right? So what?
Not all.
What? I mean, all who are claiming to be, well... Oh, boy. Okay. Please, it's too early to listen to Mitchell's garbage. Okay. Another one here. I still don't understand how we are paying for electricity plus the fuel to produce the electricity. It should be one or the other. Let's take this call before we take a break. Good morning, caller. On Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Dwight again.
Hi.
Listen, I suppose I mentioned it to you also. There's a company that has a presence in the Bahamas right now that I gave the former chairman of BPL a copy of a proposal that company was prepared to provide the Bahamas with energy at 21 cents, what's called a metric, what do you call it? The terminology used. Anyhow, we're paying 40, we're paying 40 cents. You could have done it in New Brown at 21 cents, and in the farm, we had at 25 cents. And Donovan Moxie, I think, was the guy who was the chairman. He was. Didn't even give the man an opportunity to speak on that. He just knocked it right down. All the moving forward with the company we have and all the rest of that. I think the guy wanted to use a different type of energy altogether. Wow. He has a copy of that. And there's several other persons that have a copy of that. And I can get you a copy if you want to see that. He was going to reduce it by about 50%. But these people don't want the energy drop in the Bahamas. Everybody just want to look out. Again, same thing I said now. That's when they have no competition. BPL has no competition, so they will kill you with energy costs.
Frightening. Thanks. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. Okay. Wow. Hey.
I've been writing about alternative companies.
Yes.
That have offered things to BPL.
Quite a few,
I've written about how Albany offered to completely rebuild a power station just for their own selfish needs, but also because of it, right? They're like, we need power, reliable power. We'll supply the entire island as well in the process. And whatever that deal could have turned into from billionaires, the government was like,
my goodness.
we've been writing about these things for a long time, right?
My goodness.
Somebody doesn't care to have electricity problem in this country.
Well, it's working. It's working for somebody, right? I guess the fact that people have to go and buy generators, that's a big business. People have to service the generators, that's business. You have to buy the fuel for the generators, that's business. Right?
See, they'll come back and tell you, even though we don't know the details, they just come back and say, it was a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't want to go with that. And then we're like, well, what was the deal? Well, it's confidential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, it's not fixed for us, though.
Very disturbing. All right, callers, I see you all coming in. We got to take a break, though. So if you can, hold on. We're going to be back. Call us back if you have to. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing some heavy traffic in some of the usual hotspots this morning. Mile Butler Highway, quite a bit of traffic this morning from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway roundabout. You're going to be seeing that in the northbound lanes. Backed up along Fire Trail eastbound to that roundabout as well. And Gladstone Road also busy for you from well south of Fire Trail. That's unusual this hour. We're going to be seeing that in the northbound lane up to JFK Drive. Over on Tonic Williams Darling Highway, you're going to see traffic backed up a bit heading to the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. That's westbound. And a bit of a line eastbound to the roundabout with Palms Games Boulevard as well. Coral Harbor Road eastbound to Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic there. And westbound, that's Carmichael Road, and westbound to Coral Harbor Road. And Blue Hill Road will be seeing some heavy traffic right now from south of St. Vincent Road all the way up to the roundabout with Independence Drive, especially north of Soldier Road this morning. Independence Drive, heavy traffic between the two roundabouts. So you're not going to be moving much at all. So that's between Blue Hill Road and the East-West Highway roundabout. Avoid that area if you can, and you have to be somewhere soon. Use an alternate route, perhaps Robinson Road, even though they're seeing some traffic there as well. And Soldier Road might be okay westbound for you. And East Street's also busy between the roundabout with Independence Drive East-West Highway and Soldier Road, even south of that, mainly in the northbound lanes. We're seeing the traffic building already on Eastern Road from Fox Hill Road up to Johnson Road, Prince Charles Drive, various spots, and Bernard Road westbound, northbound on Soldier Road to the intersection with Village and Wolf and Bernard Road as well. Those are your hottest spots right now. A lot going on already this morning. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. Brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Paying your share of the bill? Done! Music subscription? Renewed.
Hey, happy birthday.
Someone's birthday? Take care of it. Your life is online and so is your bank. With CIBC First Caribbean, there are many ways to send money. You can use FirstPay to transfer money to other CIBC First Caribbean clients instantly, like when you're splitting the dinner bill. And FirstSend lets you transfer funds internationally. You can even set up recurrent payments with our mobile app to pay subscriptions, rent, and bills. Choose the best in digital banking so you can live your best life. Best in digital banking based on number of products and services.
Speed doesn't come easy. It takes your investment in your goals, your time, your full effort, full dedication. And when you think you've done enough, do it again. It takes precision, not just doing it, but doing it as best as possible. Day in, day out. And just like BTC, I will stop at nothing to make the people of the Bahamas stand up and cheer. That's what fuels me and why I'm a proud ambassador of BTC. Because we share a common desire to elevate your internet experience so you elevate everything you do with it and make it the best it can be. Switch to BTC Superfast Internet and elevate what's next.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical health, we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com, visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 for Freeport.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. We're talking about BPL and that Chester says is a debacle. I think we throw that word around a little loosely. I still think curious incident might be best for now. But the statement that had to be retracted, and it's becoming a little clearer now that I think this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a lack of communication. This seems like this is just Dwight talking now, and you know. But I think this was very intentional. And what's not exactly clear is what was the aim, but yeah. Be very interesting to see what happens as a result of this. But we're getting your reaction to it and to the government. We're hearing the Prime Minister say this, and the Works Minister, and the Foreign Affairs Minister. Everybody's saying they're going to work hard to ensure that there is not a fuel hike, as Bahamians can't afford a BPL fuel hike, can't afford more taxes at this time or a higher costs at this time. So we're getting your reaction to it. 323-6232 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. We got a few more of your messages to get to. Those callers who were calling before, please call us back. We want to hear from you. This person says here, all of this sun that the Bahamas has, why do we have to always talk about electricity hike? Both governments are blind. Are they really helping the masses? And they go on to say, bring solar, please. Another text here, Dwight Minnis was so slack and inept, he let Bannister take total control of BPL and fire his board and hire his own board. Bannister's board did what they wanted to do. Chairman Moxie acting like the CEO. Managing Director Rollins acting like the CEO. Well, everyone was acting like the CEO, as you're saying. CEO was lost. That's 3 men with the same big corporate salary positions. Shameful. Okay. Another one here, Dwight and Chester. I call Mr. Davis's response embarrassing that BPL is saying that they are raising the cost not too long after he made that passionate speech about climate change. What we call that here is talking out of two tongues. How is it embarrassing? I don't understand. I mean, fuel prices are going up. Yeah.
That's not talking out of two sides of your mouth.
That's the reality. Fuel prices are going up, and the climate change is happening and is impacting island states like the Bahamas. Yeah, both things are happening. Talking at the same time, but not out of the two tongues, or as you say. But okay. This person's, why didn't you read my text? No, Yo, boy, I tell you.
Why didn't you read that text?
Because I am not reading the text. It's not necessary. That's a mischievous person there who's trying to be funny. It's funny, but I'm not reading it. But thank you for the humor. Thank you very much. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. No. Let's take the other one. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend.
Good morning. Is that Dwight?
It always is.
Oh, sorry. Good morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
Okay, I could hardly hear you.
Okay.
Well, I think it's good morning, Chester. Good morning to the nation.
Morning.
Look, I'm listening to the conversation here regarding the statement prematurely released by the CEO at BPL, right? And several things come to mind. I'm not hearing anyone even remotely address them, right? First and foremost, matters relating to price for fuel does not come before, or the final decision does not come before or rest with the CEO. That's a cabinet decision, right? That's a government of the Bahamas decision, because that's a national policy decision that will impact everyone in the country, okay? And so that statement from the CEO is a very serious statement, right? And it's a serious indictment on his level of responsibility as the chief executive officer down there at BPL. And something has to be seriously wrong if an executive believes that they have the authority in and of themselves, beyond the cabinet, which is the executive of our country, beyond the parliament, which is responsible for passing the legislation in our country, and making such a bold-hearted statement, right? Never mind it's a bold-faced lie, because it's not approved, right? And secondly, I would like to know, because this would give a good index as to how the government is going to manage these kinds of crises that will break out in other areas, or that could spread possibly in other areas of government. This will be a good yardstick for the government, for the Bahamian people to determine how the government is going to address persons who conduct themselves ultra-virus to protocol, to procedure, to authorization, and who conduct themselves in a manner of gross negligence, because that's what this amounts to. And so I'm watching very carefully to see how this matter is going to be addressed. And finally, Dwight, This is not a matter to be taken for granted, because at the end of the day, while there are sanctions against Russia, we don't know one way or the other. We could presume, we could project, but we don't know one way or the other how the fuel prices are going to land at the end of the day, especially with government hedging in place, right? And so we have to understand the intricacies of such a decision first, before we can even get on with this level of discourse that is taking place as it relates to a false statement that has been retracted within 1 hour. I think the focus needs to shift from that false statement to what the government actually stated, which is the fact of the matter, not something that is based on someone's figment of their own thoughts that they created in their own mind as an executive who does not have the authority to speak on behalf of the government unless they're sanctioned to. Thank you for the opportunity. This is totally ridiculous by the CEO.
Okay. Thank you very much. Speaking of hedging, the headline in Guardian Business, unclear if government approved most recent BPL hedging exercise. Although Financial Secretary Simon Wilson says the Ministry of Finance supports fuel hedging at BPL, it's unclear if the government has approved any hedging exercises since it came to power in September. Guardian Business understands hedging takes place every quarter, but could not get a definitive answer yesterday on if the government approved the last two exercises. We're going to talk a little more about that after the break and more of what's in the news after the news. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wherever you are, for all your banking needs, we make it easy. CIBC, First Caribbean, we've got all your banking solutions. CIBC, First Caribbean. CIBC, First Caribbean.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 and Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got a weak cold front near the southeast Bahamas now. That's going to continue to dissipate as high pressure builds behind it. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas, we're looking at variable cloudiness and warm conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers, mainly across the central and southeastern islands. Mostly fair and mild with possible showers near the frontal boundary tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers. Temperatures today getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 63 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure will continue to build north of the area while supporting hazardous boating and beaching conditions across the islands throughout the weekend. So for tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and warm with a slight chance of a few passing showers. Friday, variable cloudiness and windy conditions expected with a few quick passing showers, mainly across the central and southeast Bahamas. A small craft advisory will be in effect. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. 8:25 the time. Time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, oh boy, a lot to talk about this morning. We've got a number of issues. So let's begin with the six-legged roundabout. You're going to be seeing some heavy traffic in multiple directions, including northbound on Milo Butler Highway and eastbound on JFK Drive. So keep that in mind if you're in that area. Further north on your Providence Highway, you're going to be seeing some issues at the roundabout with Saunders Beach, and that's going to be eastbound on West Bay from Go Slow Bend all the way up to that roundabout, and northbound on New Providence Highway. Then, as usual, Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to the Tawny Williams Darling Highway roundabout. That's in the northbound lanes there, and traffic is backed up westbound on Tawny Williams Darling Highway to the roundabout, and eastbound as well to the roundabout, and even coming out of the roundabout heading westbound to JFK. Fire Trail backed up as well, eastbound to the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. Glaston Road seeing heavy traffic north of Fire Trail to JFK Drive. Carmichael, a number of hot spots there, westbound to Coral Harbor Road, near the southern end of Milo Butler Highway and Faith Avenue. And then east of Fire Trail on the way to Blue Hill Road, you'll be seeing heavy traffic there. Cowpen Road also seeing some heavy traffic eastbound to Faith Avenue. And then there's Blue Hill Road from just south of St. Vincent Road, heavy traffic there, and all the way up to Independence Drive. Northbound, Independence Drive, west and eastbound, heavy traffic both directions. And East Street in that entire area there. The East Street, Independence Drive, East-West Highway roundabout, Soldier Road intersection, just troublesome traffic for you this morning. Soldier Road all the way up to Windsor Place, and then north of Robinson Road to the intersection with Bernard Wolf Village. Bernard Road seeing heavy traffic westbound, Robinson westbound, Prince Charles westbound, everywhere. Just good luck to you. This is a lot this morning, and you're going to need it. So pack your patience and sit back and listen to the Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Your traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Fake, that could be about the fake vax cards that the Ministry of Health is taking note of, and they're asking the police to investigate this. We're going to get into that in just a second. But before the break, we talked about the fuel hedging at BPL, and this is quite an interesting story in today's Guardian Business section, Chester. Paige McCartney writing it. Although Financial Secretary Simon Wilson says the Ministry of Finance supports fuel hedging at BPL, it's unclear if the government has approved any hedging exercises since it came to power in September. Guardian Business understands hedging takes place every quarter, but could not get a definitive answer yesterday on if the government approved the last two exercises. Wilson said when contacted yesterday, quote, "We are not involved at the Ministry of Finance, but we support it. We think it's sound financial management of BPL, but we are not directly involved in the approval process. If done correctly, it is sound financial management." Okay. Because the hedging transactions are facilitated through an Inter-American Development Bank loan, BPL is required to send a white paper to the Ministry of Finance, which would then pass it along to Cabinet for approval. BPL completed its first hedging transaction in July 2020, locking Bahamian customers into paying a fuel surcharge of 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour, initially for 18 months. Last July, Last year in July, BPL confirmed that following the mandated 12-month review, the fuel charge for BPL customers will remain at 10.5 cents through to June 2022. However, earlier this week, in a recalled statement, as you know, BPL CEO Whitney Hastie said there would be an increase in the current fuel rate by 3.2 cents due to the hedging program. Works Minister Alfred Sayers said yesterday that that strategy was not approved by Cabinet. Sayers said apart from BPL's hedging strategy, it's restructuring its rate reduction bond, but it's first seeking new energy partners to ensure renewable sources are a component. He said a Cabinet subcommittee was appointed about a month ago to ensure a suitable energy partner is secured. Sayers said, quote, "We've been given very strict marching orders. Since our existence, we have met with a number of global suppliers of LNG, liquefied natural gas, and also energy companies, both local and as well as foreign, and we are working very aggressively to go back to the Cabinet with a number of proposals. I cannot give you a firm date, but I can tell you that we have been mandated to act with expedition. As you know, the rate reduction bond was a proposal that we met on the table, and I can say that at this point we're not proceeding with the rate reduction bond as framed that we met. Therefore, the purpose of this committee, this Cabinet subcommittee, is to look at all the available options to consult with our domestic stakeholders and to take proposals back to the Cabinet and have the Cabinet make a determination." All right. So let's get back to the first part of that story about the hedging. Did they miss it? Is that why this statement came from the CEO? Did we not lock it in till June 2022 as was planned? What's happening here? Chester, do you have any insight into what's going on?
I do not. All great questions you just asked.
Yeah, wow. Okay, disturbing. Let's hear what you have to say, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight and Chester.
Good morning.
It is called a reality check for Whitney Hastie. That this ain't FPL. BPL is owned by us, and it's managed by the government. Them. So remember now, minutes allow Banner to fire his board and do what they want to do. Moxie buy generators, and Moxie is a chairman. He ain't even working with BPL. He answered. He come and talking at the job of a CEO. Ron is the managing director.
You know, no one stopped the CEO from doing that. Every time we tried to get him, he wouldn't talk. So Donovan Moxie is the one who did talk.
But Moxie is a non-executive chairman.
Okay.
Google. What is the job of a non-executive chairman?
Well,
that's to chair the board.
You understand? Did you hear what I said though? That,
I know.
No one stopped Hastie from talking. He occasionally appeared on some people's shows, but most times it was only Moxie who was willing to talk.
Because he acting like he's the total boss.
No, I don't think that wasn't it.
Hastie job. Now,
okay.
Hastie thing, minister and say, God save us from menace. Ministers allow his ministers to be their own prime minister. They do what they want to do. Marvin Deans wrecked the police force. Just use the prime minister. We can hold you responsible. That's why we fired him. God save us from that NF man. What he was doing as prime minister.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not sure how that got in here. We're talking about the fuel hedging and missing some key targets, but okay. Yeah. Continue to text us, 422-4796. And tweet us, Facebook us as well. All right, let's read these and then we'll move on to some other issues in the news. I guess Hastie is whenever Anton comes on the air to berate a public worker, we later learn the person's replaced. He did the same thing with Joy Gibralou. We'll see. Oh, boy. Oh, my. Is that how it works? Dwight, make a note of the date when the Prime Minister says, Lord knows. Why is that? Another one here. Why does it seem like this government is throwing things out if the public responds favorably? And and then they'll move forward. Negatively, they'll retract it and say the statement was premature. Are they governing by public opinion or in the best interest of the country? How many examples do we have of that? You have a lot? I don't know. Okay. No, it's another one about Anton. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. A lot of these we can't read. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of these. I'm not going to be able to read. You all still wasting your time on this country's issues that your leaders were trying to fix for 30 years. Bad roads, no modern bus transit system, horrible education system, no economic diversity, a disaster of a hospital, et cetera, et cetera. And I blame you guys who aid and abet these incompetent leaders in continuing to fleece the country. I don't know who the you guys are you're talking about, but also we're wasting our time. So what should we do? Tell us what we should do. One call, and then we're going to move on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good show as usual. Dwight, let me ask you one or two questions. How many water companies we have in Ireland off your head?
How many what, sorry?
Water companies. Who sell water?
Quite a few. I don't know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, see, like caller said earlier, if we, see, PGC got competition from alive. Cable bombs are all the things, see? We pump $40 million in the ZNS every year, and they don't make no money. We need to stop that. We pump money to the Bahamas there, but I can understand Bahamas there because we got many islands, and we got to take care of our people. They be human. I don't have a problem with that. But see, why the fact of the matter is, like I keep telling people, nothing to change the country and tell them what's good out. They done killing us. They destroying us. They let me down. They let down my oldest of the children, and by God, I ain't gonna let them let down my last children and my grandchildren. We need to fight. They are failures. They swear that they do the Queen of and says they don't like us, right? Can't all see that? Don't tell me, but we don't need a lotto. Certain cases got 86,000 people. They get lotto and they get the people. See, they believe me people dumb. See, they need to forget about the Christian Council and these liberal groups in the Bahamas, man. You see? So for every action,
the Christian Council and the liberal groups? Well, I think it's everybody then. No?
That's right, man. 80% of them. Okay, these people don't like us. Even when some of the foreign companies come, they don't come because they like us, They come because we speak English. We got a stable economy. Our money trade dollar with America. Of course, we need some new money from here. But why are we giving them all these concessions? Right, man, we need to fix this country for being in the place. And only then will this country move forward. I'm trying to take my call, my brother.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the fake vaccination cards. You probably heard this in the news. This is a thing, and there are investigations now into it. Take a listen to this report from our Cale Campbell.
Once we pick up things like that, we need to move swiftly to let the public know that it's a violation, it's against the law, and all of those print shops that are part of this procedure or doing it need to stop immediately.
Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, reveals new details about an ongoing investigation into the alleged production of fraudulent vaccination cards by some printing companies. The Vaccination Committee notified police that counterfeit vaccination cards missing certain information were appearing in their system.
I don't want to go into the details of the investigation, but we want all print companies who are producing cards, and if they're involved in this kind of activity, to stop immediately because it was referred to the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Darville says he doesn't believe a large number of cards were produced, and some persons partaking in it may not realize it is against the law.
It was brought to my attention by the Vaccination Committee, and immediately we moved swiftly to report it to the appropriate authorities. I'd like to leave it like that because I don't want to speculate what's out there. It may be a very minor thing, or as well as it may be more complicated than we anticipate.
Dr. Darville says the Vaccination Committee's database remains unaffected and his team remains vigilant.
It did not affect our database in no particular way. But if you have a card and people do not check, you can go places presenting a card, and if you do not do the necessary barcodes and to verify what the card is, you may be able to slip through the crack in an event where you're supposed to be vaccinated.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Cale Campbell.
Did he say some people may not know that it's again? Oh, come on now.
That's
Come on now.
That was the crux of that conversation right there.
Come, let's not do this. Let's not pretend that these people aren't fully aware of the garbage they're doing. They know. Oh boy. If you want to comment on that, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. What I want to know, though, is when they do finish the investigation, are they going to call these people out? Are they going to list the names of the companies and show these people up? Is that going to happen, or is this just going to be another one of those shove it under the table, under the carpet, bury it type things that we do so well? No?
Well, he was politely asking them to stop doing it.
Okay. So that's good. That's going to be enough? Y'all, that was a terrible thing you did. Now stop. Okay, so let's move on. Huh? Okay. Wow. This text here, I love how Dr. Darville is pretending like their efforts are what's causing the decline in COVID cases. Yeah, what do you think it is?
It's not.
Okay. All right. Hey, wow. All right, we're going to take a break. Yesterday we talked about it. The older woman, although we don't know now exactly how old she is, if she's actually elderly, but the challenged woman who appeared to be being abused, hearing more about what exactly was happening there. Does it change anything? I'm not too sure, but you be the judge when we come back after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
She was raised right, even when the world is on her shoulders, she'll remain refined.
I have to take a business trip, and I want John to keep things running while I'm away. How can I ensure he keeps within budget? Maybe I need to get him a camera to record everything he does 24/7. Maybe not. Instead, get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with employees for free. And you set the spending limit, so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
Speed doesn't come easy. It takes your investment in your goals, your time, your full effort, full dedication. And when you think you've done enough, do it again. It takes precision, not just doing it, but doing it as best as possible. Day in, day out. And just like BTC, I will stop at nothing to make the people of the Bahamas stand up and cheer. That's what fuels me and why I'm a proud ambassador of BTC. Because we share a common desire to elevate your internet experience so you elevate everything you do with it and make it the best it can be. Switch to BTC Superfast Internet and elevate what's next.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Chester Robards. And we got into it yesterday talking about this video that went, I guess, viral last week. A woman seen walking about in a parking lot in a nightdress and diapers. And then she's picked up and beaten. It sounds like, if you heard the video, beaten by the person who picked her up, and that got a lot of people angry and very concerned and talking about a lot of different things. Elder abuse and now the abuse of people with disabilities and just abuse in general. There's more reaction to the story now, and our Jared Higgs found one of the women allegedly involved in this. Take a listen to this report, and then we can talk about it.
The woman seen in a video scolding her 58-year-old special needs sister and allegedly hitting her says she didn't abuse her. Speaking to the Nassau Guardian over the phone, the woman confirmed that her sister has special needs, but she denied that she hit her during the encounter that was caught on camera. She says her sister is still staying with her too. During our phone call, she said, people is run on with all kind of thing and go on, and they don't know how nothing go. They don't know how nothing go. People put down something on Facebook, and they just run comment underneath it. People just don't know what is abuse. People don't know what is abuse. If I abuse her, why am I going to hit her? But the video, which has been widely shared on social media, sparked outrage, with many calling for the authorities to get involved.
Sometimes when we view things on social media, it has a way of twisting what is the real story. But that video, that was live and in living color.
Jasmine Fraser is an advocate for persons with disabilities. She says it's clear that the woman in the video doesn't have training to deal with people with special needs.
I would have alerted the security in the parking lot, maybe somebody in one of the businesses, but I would not have felt safe that that elderly lady left that parking lot with her relative.
Fraser, who is wheelchair bound, also expressed gratitude to the person who recorded the video.
That lady is better off in a home than with an abusive relative. What happens to these cases? How long since that video was aired has this lady still stayed with her relative?
The Nassau Guardian reached out to police and social services authorities on Monday for word on whether any investigation is taking place. However, our inquiries have not been replied to. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I am Jared Higgs.
Maria is going away to college.
Oops, okay. Let's get your reaction to that, folks. Chester, you been following this story?
I'm not really. I haven't even seen the video either.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what the family member is saying, because that does sound like abuse, but okay. But yeah, I think she's right. A lot of people don't know
what the family member was saying.
That didn't make... But yeah, she's very right. People clearly don't understand what's abuse. Clearly. And that's been the problem with the country from God knows when. But 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
What her comment sounded to me was stay out of my business. Y'all don't know what I going through.
Mm-hmm. Right. And also sounded like if we didn't care, we wouldn't have gone to get her. And so obviously this is a caring, loving environment. And, maybe it is, but that doesn't mean that there isn't some heavy-handed means of dealing with situations. Let's put it like that. But yeah, let's go. All right, let's get your reaction. 422-4796 on the text line. Tweet us, Facebook us, call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Okay, here are a few text messages. Someone says here, the problem is the exploitation of the weak. It is normalized in this country. If it had been a man beating this again, not this again, not this again. Oh, my God. We had the same thing yesterday. I don't understand. Oh my goodness. If it had been a man beating the special needs lady, we would be hearing about gender-based violence. The source of the problem needs to be addressed. The strong should be taught to protect the weak and not exploit them. I get what you're saying, and for the most part, but people are angry in this situation, so it's not about that at all, right? The gender thing. Let's not introduce or interject it into the conversation at all. It's so different. It's not necessary to prove your points here with that. But you are right. The exploitation of the weak. This is the same thing with children. Yep, we were having a discussion about this yesterday, and a lot of people were saying, it's a little different when you're disciplining children, and children need discipline. But it's just that no one should ever lay their hand on another adult. Oh, okay.
What's interesting is we have a culture of staying out of other people's business in this country.
We do?
Well, when it comes to serious things.
Oh.
Like the person who Jared interviewed said, I wouldn't have let that person leave the parking lot without calling someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the person who videotaped it called anyone, but they sure took out their phone to record it, right?
Yes.
So what I mean is the intervention. I don't know how much we really get involved. We might say, oh, that's wrong, and then just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But how many times will we see like somebody with someone like that? Even with kids, like we see the, like you said, heavy-handed approach that a lot of these parents take to their kids in wherever they are. Nobody says anything or calls anyone. They're like, oh, that ain't my business.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying it yesterday that I don't think anybody would have recorded even if they saw that happening with someone and a child. But, yeah, boy. This text goes back to BPL. Anyway. Dwight, do you know the names of the chairman of Apple or Facebook or Google? My bet no, because chairmen do not run the company in the real corporate world. Why do you think Hasty, as CEO, was scared to talk to the press? Probably because he was told to let Moxie run things. But still, getting that big salary and not doing his job as CEO. Wow, indeed. Okay, but I don't know. Chester, you've spoken to him before. Was he? He would talk to the print media, wouldn't he?
Who's that?
Hasty.
I mean, during press conferences and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I don't think I've ever spoken to him on the phone.
Ooh.
You know, when I'm trying to reach him just for information.
Okay.
I assume that they just they use the chairman as the public relations machine.
Mm-hmm.
Lets the CEO do the day-to-day running of the company.
Yeah, I don't think he was being silenced. I just think that was what he was most comfortable with, or is. We shouldn't be speaking in the past tense. I don't think anything's changed. Is most comfortable with, it was the chairman or the minister. That's who spoke. And the public relations manager, you all know who that was. Yeah. We heard more from him than anybody else, actually.
I don't feel like that was atypical. Actually, Kevin Basden was always very accessible.
But he was the general manager back then. That was when, right? It was a different type of thing. But he used to be the one to talk.
It was pretty much the same role, though, right?
I'm not sure, but he used to talk, and he didn't run from people. And so I don't know. Things changed when it became BPL. It changed. The last one who used to talk to us often was Bam Hill, and you saw what happened to her.
Right.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to this issue with the abuse.
Sorry.
What? What? You need to. Okay.
Back memories. That's all.
Yeah. This person says here, this is a serious story. You can clearly hear her hitting the lady in the video. Yeah. Did the video actually show the woman hitting the other woman? No. I mean, you can't see it because they're in a car and the other person recording is in a vehicle. But she says something and you hear blows and you hear screams and crying out.
It's too sad for me to watch.
This person says here, I get that the text on the exploitation of the weak seems callous. However, if we can't identify and name the problem, solving it will be difficult. No, I don't think it's callous. I just think it's bringing in the fact that if it had been a man, yeah, just that part. This person says here, are you suggesting that the lady was not abused? Who, us? No, we're not suggesting that at all. But in the report, the relative says that it's not abuse. It's not abuse. Well, that wasn't clear? No, Chester?
Yeah, it was very clear.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Did you hear what the lady said?
No,
yeah.
No, I mean, that I don't know who you guys are talking about. I don't understand. They go on to say, if so, that is why our society is the way it is. We must call things what they are and refrain from what is this word? Looking. It's supposed to be a K. Looking for loopholes. No. We are definitely saying that is an abusive situation. We are definitely saying that, but the relative is not saying that. Right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend.
Dwight and Chester, this shows another failure of our system. What we have is, if we're supposed to have an effective and functioning social safety net program that actually documents all of the individuals that comes under the care of social services or some other institution in the country and have active follow-up and verification authentication based on disabled children, senior citizens, etc. So, again, another system that does not function or does not even exist. One other point is when you speak concerning the chairman speaking for BPL or any of these other corporations, in fact, that's another corruption of our system because we have ministers speaks on everything. When ministers' sole responsibility should be for policy and legislation coming out of Parliament as opposed to be running actual ministries and government corporations. And so essentially we've been just making stuff up as we go along and calling it governance. So we got a lot to fix.
Did you say S? Making S up? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I used the word stuff.
Wow. Not that
well. Yes, we call it governance, but it's just making stuff up every day. Like, children do every time. They play. They get up and they say, this is how we do it. And they say, look, Mommy, look, Daddy, this is that we do. Just making stuff up as we play along instead of actually governing.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. Boy. What's going to come out of this, right? Is that just going to go away? Another story that just, whatever happened, a year later you ask that question. Oh boy!
I mean, they in the story, Jared explained that they were trying to get confirmation of whether or not police were looking into it, right?
Yeah.
And couldn't get confirmation, so who knows?
Oh, well. All right. We're going to take a break for news headlines. When we come back, Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking about the auto sector in the Bahamas, where things stand, especially with the shipping issues, the challenges, the chip shortage, and why dealers are seeking some price control reform. Did you know there was price control on vehicles even? We're going to talk about that, the impact that's had, and why they want it to change. That's coming up after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Maria is going away to college and she needs access to money. But I'm worried about her spending. Maybe I can create an alarm that goes off every time she overspends. Or I'll just move in with her. Hi, roomie. economy? Or just get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with family members for free. And you set the spending limit so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. This morning, we are talking about the automobile sector here in the Bahamas, where things stand at this point, especially with the shortages, with the chip issue, with the transportation, container issues, and now potential war or an actual war going on and all the impact that's going to have, and more. We're very pleased to have in studio with us President of the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association, Ben Albury. Ben Albury, always great to talk to you. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Dwight. Sounds like the perfect storm, doesn't it?
Oh, man, it's a lot going on. That's a lot going on there. All right, so I want to talk to you, before we get to all of those other things, about something you spoke about in the media recently, about price control. And I think a lot of people don't realize there's price control on the vehicles. Explain that to us. How does this work? What's it on exactly?
Well, it's kind of archaic. A lot of our distributors and suppliers, when we meet with them and we explain to them our limitations under price control, they're kind of taken back. I think it's something that's sort of unique to the Bahamas. I'm not aware of any other Caribbean countries that have price control on auto sales. Price control is something that you would normally expect to be reserved to monopolies or to, bare essentials that people may try to capitalize on or exploit people, and it's necessary for the government to step in and regulate those things. The automobile industry definitely is not one that I feel would fall under that. And I know the first reaction from most people is, oh, look at these greedy car guys, trying to attack price control. But, the thing is, the expenses of these businesses continue to go up every year. We just got our new property tax bills recently, and it was a huge jump. And our margins are fixed. To those that obey it, new vehicles are 25%, used vehicles are 15%.
That's the markup that you can...
That's the markup we're allowed to apply. And then in most cases, in new vehicles, we offer, discounts in order to try and remain competitive, with others. So, and then you also have the factor of people that, bring vehicles in all the time on their own, sell them out of their house. They're under no sort of price control. They're not paying the type of tax scales that we're paying, as well as I'm sure there's even some of the smaller side of the road used car places. I remember years ago there was a crunch on it, and they went around interviewing some of the smaller dealers, and when they stuck a mic in the guy's face, he said, "Price control? What price control?" Right. Like he innocently, it seemed, was completely unaware that there even was one. We're in a capitalist market. We're in a very open market now where people have access to online purchasing. They have access to jump on a plane, go to the States, buy something that they like. There's a number of dealers now independently owned in the country. The market is going to dictate the price. So sometimes we see opportunities where we may get an exceptional deal. You may have bought in bulk. You may have gotten a shipping break. You may have gotten some sort of break where you may be able to make a few percent extra on a product, and you're unable to do so due to price control. And so, price control does come by very regularly to check. They do their job. I'll give them that. And, that's also in some ways a hindrance too, because they'll walk in and they're very nice, very respectful. They're doing their job. I respect that. But, I need to see the paperwork on this, and you kind of got to stop what you're doing and go through that motion. And, so I just feel like we've gotten to the point now, or we've been to the point now for many years to where the industry will regulate itself due to competition.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sure people listening are trying to process this. So they already think that there's a lot of sticker shock when you walk into a dealership here because of duty and VAT and so many other things. But what do you say to somebody who's saying, "What, these prices are already outrageous"? I mean, what would happen if there were a lifting of price control?
I don't think you would see an exorbitant increase. Like I said, in a lot of cases, dealers have to deeply discount in order to make sure that they're competitive with others. I think it's just the odd occasion where you do have an opportunity that you could make a couple dollars profit, but you're inhibited by doing so. Most of the businesses you go into every day, for example, that nice shirt you got on there, they probably marked it up 100 to 200% when you bought it. Working on the type of margins, we really have to rely on very high volume, which lately is not non-existent. So I'm not talking about giving dealers the opportunity to price gouge. I just think that if people walk into my shop and they see something and they say, hey, this isn't competitive with what I could either A, import it for, or B, buy it from somebody else, then, there's nobody forcing them to buy from us. They're fully capable, and it's easily accessible to find product elsewhere.
And there's price control on the parts as well?
Price control is on the parts as well. It's 75% on parts. That's fine, but then sometimes, for example, I may sell a fuel filter for $7, and the guy down the road may sell it for $8, and I may have an opportunity to buy a batch of those filters and get them in at a good price, and I may be able to mark mine up to $7.50, but I'm unable to do that due to price control as well.
So hardly anybody's doing 75%, do you think?
Well, I think people mark up to 75%, but then there's normally discounts that are offered as well. Okay. There again to remain competitive. Right. So, I think it's just, I don't think it would make a huge difference in the prices, but it would give us the option on certain products during certain occasions to possibly make a slightly larger margin than we have, and still remain competitive.
Yeah, this is scary though. I mean, people, because I think parts are 45 to 60%.
Yeah,
duty.
We'll look at a used car. I could pay 65% duty and 10% VAT to import a used car, and then I get to mark up 15%. So, a lot of the sticker shock that people may see is not coming through. Not coming through us, So, and also there's, as you mentioned, the shipping woes. There's the shortages. I think the last article I read, used car prices in the States were up 30+%. Yeah. That's due to a very, very low inventory in new product. I have vehicles that I special ordered as long as 13 months ago that still have not even gone into production yet.
Not even production?
They haven't even gone into production, no. So it's a very scary time for the industry. It's very hard to project what's coming as far as when these things will ease up. I've seen some predictions that say it could go as long as the end of this year and early next year.
Yeah. Wow.
Shipping costs, for example, a container from Japan just 2 or 3 years ago was about $6,000. I'm now paying $22,000 to import the same container.
Wow. All right, so I want to get back to that. Just quickly on the price control. You've said this in the media, you're saying it today, but have you heard anything from the government? Have you been in talks with the government? What are they saying about it?
Well, we've been in talks with previous governments. There is a few things that we would like to sit down with this government and discuss, such as road traffic, trying to fix some of the inefficiencies and maybe some of the lack of training of some of the staff and the experience that is had at road traffic. Price control is one of the things that we would like to discuss. So there is a few things we have not reached out yet, but I'm sure that we will be reaching out in short order.
Yeah.
I think we want to give the government a chance to get in and kind of get settled, and I'm sure they have a million people knocking on their door right now with a lot of cares and concerns. That definitely is on the agenda to try to meet with them in the very near future.
Yeah, I can imagine. Training at road traffic. What's happening there?
Well, it's for me personally, it's frustrating. We send a vehicle out there to be licensed. One person tells you one thing, another person you talk to tells you something different. The line isn't moving very well. Some days you go there because it's raining, the gate's locked and they've closed for the day, or maybe the AC's not working, or the normal challenges I think that come with a lot of government offices. So
when dealers at the end of the month, do you all have to stay on that line as well?
we stay on the same line
goodness.
as everybody else.
Okay.
But the difference is sometimes we have to make 2 or 3 trips a day if we're busy. So it would be nice if they could streamline the system in some way. I know they've talked about going online. I know there's other first world methods that can be put into place to try to ease some of our frustration, I'm sure, as well as some of the general public's.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's rough. And it's been around for a long time. These two problems.
I mean, a long time.
Yeah.
And people think that we get some preferential duties. They think that we get some preferential treatment of road traffic. They think that, we get all this. We don't. We pay an extremely high amount of taxes as far as for an industry.
Right.
Incredibly high. But no, there's no real extra perks.
I don't want to give you any ideas because this would be a bad idea. But I mean, I know a lot of the dealerships offer licensing and inspection, and that's a draw. But the hassle, I mean, are you considering that? I mean, that would be.
I've joked around with some of my coworkers that hey, I'd love to just stop offering licensing, but I know it's such a great convenience because people sometimes even have a hard time getting off of work to come and look at a car.
Yep.
Much less to go to the bank and go through the financing, go through the insurance company, do all the running around they do. So, it's always been a tradition of ours to try to make that part of the process as seamless as possible. Once you pay, once you bring in your insurance, when you come back, your car should be full of gas, should be licensed, it should be cleaned, prepped, and ready for you to just, go about your day.
Right. Wow. Well, hopefully that won't have to go away.
I mean, right now, like I said, it's something we joke about, that life would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But, as of right now, I think that's something we'll continue to bear the brunt of.
Oh boy! All right, so let's talk about you're saying 13-month wait for even production. This is scary. You can see it on the lots. It looks like the place is closed down in some cases. And there's nothing, 1 or 2 vehicles left. Just how bad is it here?
I mean, like you say, I've passed a few dealers lately that normally would have excessive inventories that don't only have 1 vehicle in the showroom.
Yeah.
I spoke to a dealer the other day in South Florida. He told me his inventory would fluctuate between 600 to 700 units at any given time. He had about 30 at that time on his entire lot. So this is something that's hitting everybody, and it's really hard to wrap your head around it because, like I tell people, if you'd have asked me this 3 years ago, I'd have told you, or 2 years ago, I'd have told you you're out of your mind. I would have thought that I would have had too little demand and too much product.
Right.
To the contrary, there's an insatiable demand for product. Commercial vehicles, I find, in very high demand, which I think is encouraging because that says something about the market overall. Passenger vehicles are near impossible. SUVs, near impossible. So I find myself at this point even pre-selling shipments that haven't even arrived yet. Once I have confirmation that they're actually built and going to be shipped, I'll even start selling them prior to their arrival.
And how far ahead are we talking?
60 days.
Yeah.
90 days. So that's, but, dealers.
And like people are buying it without seeing it. And
well,
just...
they may have seen an example in the showroom and missed it. And I could say, look, I have more coming, but they're not coming for X amount of time, and they're prepared to put down to make sure that they secure what they need.
Wow.
It's not a good position. I know it brings a lot of frustration to the customers that are coming around and looking, but believe me, the frustration on our end is even higher because we're seeing so many missed opportunities every day.
And as you said, it's globally. This is all over the place. Everybody's having the same issue.
It's not just us. We're just feeling like everything else. We feel the trickle effects.
Yeah. I mean, we're a small market. Are we at the bottom of the totem pole in this, or do we have to wait for the other markets to get their share of vehicles before we will get ours?
That's an excellent point. We are a proverbial drop in the bucket. So a dealer in the States can pump out 300, 400, 500, 600 vehicles a month.
Yeah.
That may be what a dealer here would put out in an entire year or two. So yes, vehicles that are produced in the U.S. by U.S. companies, they're going to satisfy their own before they start to let it trickle down more to us.
Yeah.
So there's so many different, it's definitely changed the way that we've had to do business as far as our ordering, as far as our planning. I got a forecast sent to me last week by one of our suppliers asking me to please forecast my sales for the rest of the year. I wrote him back and I said, well, if you can forecast what I'm actually going to get, then I may be able to.
Wow.
But right now it's sort of, a waste of my time because if I can't get it, I can't sell it.
Yeah. Okay, so how long? We know this started as a result. Chester?
Hey, man, morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to ask quickly. I assume it's not like the car industry is not like the food store industry where you're not getting product from one person where you could go source something different or something else, huh?
No, I mean we are distributors of the brands that we carry, and other brands are having the same problem. So no, I wouldn't be able to step out of what I'm locked into, and even if I was, I'd only be stepping into somebody else's challenges. I find Japanese vehicles are a few months behind. American vehicles are extremely far behind.
Wow.
I think some of that too is access to the semiconductors. In that region of the world, they're a major manufacturer of those semiconductors. But then you have raw material shortages. You have components, for example. Some manufacturer may purchase a component from a particular supplier. That supplier may be out of a component. It may be a very, very simple component, but it's enough to make them not be able to complete the build of the vehicle.
Right. Wow. So this is, how long are we going on now seeing this? I know we talked, I think that was late last year, and it was getting bad then. But what are we looking at now?
Well, I think we've been about a year and a half or 2 years into this. It just, in the beginning, it seemed to be something that we thought was just a hiccup because factories kept having to close and shipping companies had people that were sick.
Yep.
And, it didn't seem like it was going to snowball into this big effect. I also predicted a major slowdown in the economies. I think that especially in high-end goods, we've seen the complete opposite.
Right.
In the U.S. now, the boat market is crazy, the car market is crazy, the luxury goods market is crazy. So I guess, as they say, anytime there's crisis, some people are still making a lot of money.
Yeah. Let's talk more about that, prices. So luxury, as you said, selling like, if you can find it, selling like hotcakes. But even the low-end vehicles, the transaction prices have gone up. The average price of a new car is higher than ever before. What's happening here, and how much longer is it going to go on? I mean, this is just the way it is. Are we likely to see the average transaction price in the States approaching $50,000 soon? Is that what we're looking at?
I think certain things are going to readjust themselves. I think the real estate market and a few other markets are going to get to a point where they're going to have to correct themselves. Unfortunately, I think with shipping costs, some of these other charges that we're seeing now that are grossly inflated, a lot of the manufacturers, I think, once they realize that they can get that kind of money for their product, as long as the market will continue to sustain it, I think that we'll see that continue to go on. I don't think it will be a major correction.
Wow.
You know, it's something that is just kind of going to be touch and go, I think.
Mm-hmm. So what's that going to mean for a place like the Bahamas that has so many additional charges, taxes on top of already high prices?
I think it's going to be very hard. You know, I think it is very hard. I think the average Bahamian family right now is feeling it every time they go to the gas pumps, every time, I know when my wife and I go to the food store and I look at what I paid and what I walked out with, it's scary, especially people that have kids and have mortgages and have a lot of responsibilities. So, hopefully we'll see this economy continue to open. I think the demand is there in the tourism market. I think as we start to see these restrictions ease up and people realize that there's not as many restrictions as there were before, I think that people are going to be a lot more comfortable now with coming back to the Bahamas, as we've seen increase over the past months.
Yeah. Wow. All right, we're talking with Ben Albury with the Bahamas Auto Dealers Association, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the trends that we're seeing, or what we hope to see when we can get more vehicles back, and we're going to get into all of that after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical health, we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau, or 352-6676 for Freeport.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
So what you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them and the messages get all mixed up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Calling government involvement in state-owned enterprises very problematic. The Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, says there should be mechanisms in place to make it harder for those entities to request fiscal transfers, adding that the recent economic shock of the COVID pandemic may provide a window to reform. The recently released publication entitled Smoldering Embers, Do State-Owned Enterprises Threaten Fiscal Stability in the Caribbean?, examined the role of SOEs in contributing to the fiscal instability of the Bahamas, Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. The report saying that SOEs are numerous, rarely productive, frequently loss-making, highly leveraged, and dependent on transfers from their respective governments, and says the latter uses these companies for political purposes, as has been shown, and tend to create SOEs following current account cycles. When there is excess capital in the region, it is spent poorly. But when the region is experiencing a downturn, the real consequences of sustaining large, inefficient public companies becomes evident, both in terms of small fiscal risks year on year and large bailout risks over time. Read more on this report in today's Guardian Business section. Nassau Cruise Port is expecting 6 ships in its berths today for the first time in the port's history, bringing an anticipated 12,000-plus visitors who will explore New Providence. NCP CEO Mike Mora explaining that there could have been more than 20,000 cruise passengers arriving in Nassau if not for the continued COVID pandemic and certain protocols aboard cruise lines. He says the cruise numbers are returning from a decline in January when the emergence of the Omicron variant caused many cruise reservation cancellations. And the Bahamas is on course to develop a national value chain for an exportable product, though what that product will be has yet to be finalized by local and regional bodies for standards and quality. That's according to Technical Officer for Quality Promotions at the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, Latoya Burnham. She explains that when the product is decided on, the Bahamas will have a viable export. Burnham making the remarks yesterday during the Bahamas Bureau of Standards and Quality webinar aimed at educating Bahamian media about national and regional quality improvement and highlighting details and benefits of the 11th European Development Fund Economic Partnership Agreement and Technical Barriers to Trade Program. Overseas, U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell making it clear today that the Fed will begin raising interest rates this month in a high-stakes effort to restrain surging inflation. In prepared testimony he will deliver to a congressional committee, Powell cautioned that the economic consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine are highly uncertain. He says the Fed will need to be nimble in responding to the unexpected changes resulting from the war or the sanctions that the U.S. and Europe have imposed in response. The Fed is widely expected to raise its benchmark short-term interest rate several times this year, beginning with its March 15th through 16th meeting. In testimony, Powell provided little additional guidance about how quickly the Fed would do so. A rate hike next month would be the first since 2018, and it would mark the beginning of a delicate challenge for the Fed. It wants to increase rates enough to bring down inflation, which is at a 4-decade high, but not so fast as to choke off growth and hiring. Powell is betting that with the unemployment rate in the U.S. low at about 4% and consumer spending healthy, the economy can withstand modestly higher borrowing costs. In your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from Tuesday, your market movers, Doctors Hospital moving 2,000 shares, closing unchanged at $10.06. Consolidated Water closing at $196, unchanged. Emira Incorporated, unchanged at $11.44. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,246.88, unchanged. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Law Adjusters.
In a final look at traffic this morning, the movement across the island has been pretty slow. Still have a number of congestion delays out there that's been trying over the last 10, 20 minutes or so. You see them making the best effort. Traffic on Glacier Road beyond Jubilee Subdivision already, but still a lengthy traffic line to get up there on the JFK. So Malabala Highway, sorry for them. They're still very slow this morning. Getting out there onto the Tunnels Million Dollar Roundabout. And Carmichael Road, much improved, but you still got your traffic line, of course, going through the traffic light there at Blue Hill Road. Moving along Blue Hill Road, very much improved. The slow was at the bottom of the hill getting into the Tunnels Million Dollar Roundabout because you still have heavy traffic flows on the west lane of Independence Drive going into that same circle. Same thing is happening on the east side, Independence Drive going into the East Street Circle. So really, East Street South traffic doesn't really get any relief until you cross Robertson Road going into the city. The ride from the west also slowed down because, first of all, 6-leg roundabout on JFK, heavy traffic line coming into that circle. They're also compounded by the traffic that's coming from the Sports Center and what's coming from New Providence Avenue coming in from the north side. The traffic on West Bay Street slowed from the bend and the bumper-to-bumper ride into the roundabout at Saunders Beach. Once beyond that, your ride into the city slow, but you get there. It's not as congested. While Marathon Road, northbound traffic into the city has improved, it's still very slow on Soldier Road going into that Wolf Village, Quinnet, and Soldier Road traffic light. And the Eastern Road traffic still there, working really hard to get out there on the Shirley Street. This National Traffic Report service with jsjohnsononline.com, where you're able to sign up for your online service center app. There you're able to view your policy details, check outstanding balances, and report a claim as well. With your Ride Sky, look at traffic in real time. I'm VANN.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. We are talking with Ben Albury. He's the president of the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association. They're having a great conversation. Opening a lot of eyes about the challenges facing the auto sector in the country. And honestly, I tell you, when I saw that story, I was like, huh? Because the prices are. But yes, when you think about it, and you do, we were talking about this off air, you all do have quite a bit of staff, the retail side and the parts and service side as well, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Like I had mentioned to you at the break, what a lot of people don't realize too is that when I order vehicles, in some cases I have to pay anywhere between 30 to 100% in advance. Mm-hmm. Under normal circumstances, I would wait 4 to 6 months to get that product. Under these circumstances, the wait time is unknown. So it can be 8 months, 10 months, a year. So imagine operating any business and outlaying an incredible amount of cash to secure goods that you never know if and when you're going to receive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money it takes to move a business of that size as far as taxes are concerned, as far as paying duties, as far as the amount of staff that we have to employ to make it work, both directly and indirectly. So car dealerships do benefit the economy a lot more than people give it credit for. If you look in the U.S. and they're ever tracking or gauging the U.S. economy, there's two things that are always looked at: new car sales and new home construction, because those are two of the biggest investments that people make. So as a overall scale of the economy, when you see those two industries doing well, in general, you expect that the entire economy is doing very well.
Well, I mean, we can't run from it. The biggest charge here is the duty and the additional cost. It's the duty, 65 to 85% on most vehicles. 25 is up to 1.6 liters.
Yeah, 25,
Yeah.
and then you have a 45 scale, then you have 65. Another thing I think would be good to talk to the government about as well is the cap right now on electric and hybrid vehicles was
Right.
set many years ago at 50,000.
Yeah.
If the purpose of encouraging people to go with greener technology is to reduce our carbon footprint, I don't think there really should be a price tag put on that, because what you could have bought and imported when that was set for $50,000.
Today you get a tire.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Maybe two. But yeah.
The technology is becoming very expensive.
Yeah. So you're saying there shouldn't be a cap on it?
I don't think there should be. If there is, like I said, if you're encouraging people to drive what they call greener, more efficient vehicles, I don't see where that should really come at a limitation on the cap. If there is a limit, I think the limit needs to be reassessed based on what the average price of the
Right.
vehicle was at that time compared to what it is now.
Yesterday we had some texters saying that there should be no duty on electric vehicles. What do you think about that?
At this point, I'm still not really 100% sold on electric. You read so many, contrary reports. I think here, too, some of my concerns is the flooding that we experience in a lot of this archipelago. After Dorian, there was a lot of vehicles that were submerged underwater. At least they were able to go out there with WD-40 and a hammer and beat on it a few times. And, maybe if it only ran for a couple months, at least they were able to get it up and running. If those same vehicles were electric and were fully submerged underwater, I don't think there would have been anything you could have done to get them going. I think that we still need to look at the disposal of the batteries. Another thing that people don't look at with electric vehicles is the resale value. If you have a combustion gas engine that's efficient and that is conservative on fuel costs, that's great. And if you kept it well for 10 years, when you turn around and sell it, you could possibly still attract a fairly decent resale value. When you go to resell that same electric vehicle that's 10 years old, if the batteries have not been replaced, you're thinking in the back of your mind, I might get caught holding a hot potato here, and I may be the one that would have to outlay $10,000 or $20,000 to replace the batteries, which may be at that point more than the actual value of the car. So, I think that there may even be room to look at a section of the duty where it would have to fall within a certain fuel economy. If a vehicle gets 40, 50 miles per gallon, it may even get better fuel economy than a hybrid vehicle. So this is where I think it's important for us to, at some point, meet with the government and share some of this information and knowledge that we have of our industry in a way that we can say, hey, how do we grow the industry, and at the same time, how do we protect the government revenue to make sure that continues to do what it needs to do? Because I know the government definitely needs revenue as much as the dealers do.
I want to get back to that duty issue, but you mentioned electric vehicles. Now, you are with Bahamas Bus and Truck,
Yes,
and
sir.
you all sell Chrysler vehicles, now part of Stellantis.
Yeah.
And they've made it very known that they are moving full steam ahead with battery-powered vehicles, battery electric vehicles. So, I mean, you're going to have to adjust.
Absolutely, and I have sold some electric vehicles already as well. I'm only speaking from my own personal perspective and for where we live. The reason that a lot of that electric and hybrid technology is accelerating the way that it is because of mandates in certain countries that they have to reach, certain electric vehicle a certain amount of electric vehicles on the road at a certain time, whether it be 2035, 2040, whenever it may be. So there is a big drive by the manufacturers. And I do believe that some of that technology will be the technology of the future. But I think that it's still somewhat in the infancy. And I think that we're starting to see a lot of changes in that industry, as with the solar industry. The batteries, the panels, that stuff is accelerating very rapidly. So I think it will come a time and point here where, like everything else, we will grow and adapt. But I think that gas combustion engines are still going to have a place here for quite a while.
Okay. Now we know a previous administration had tried to set the duties based on engine size. You just suggested perhaps it should be based on fuel economy. What do you make of the current duty rates, and what would make more sense to you if you were if this were your world and you could rationalize what would be the best way to go?
Well, there again, like I said, I think promoting, the electric and hybrid sector better than what they are now as far as the structure is concerned, as well as looking at, right now it's based on engine size. I think if they looked also at the fuel economy, I think that would be something that would be very good to do here. I think that the entire scale is something that probably just needs to be readjusted, especially considering the fact that the industry has made so many changes, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, some willingly, some unwillingly. And as we were talking earlier about, where I see the entire industry, I read an interesting article the other day where a gentleman pointed out that what he sees happening is that manufacturers are seeing what they can actually get for their vehicles. They're seeing a reduction in the amount of features and options that they're offering due to the component shortages that they need. And they're seeing dealerships now forcibly going to more of a buy-on-demand sort of scale. So rather than dealerships that in the past in the U.S. may have had a huge footprint because they had to keep 500 or 600 vehicles in stock, they may just keep examples or a very small inventory on their lot and then rely on vehicles to be built more on a per-order basis.
Yeah. How would that change things if we came to that?
Well, it would be very challenging because of the same thing that we're seeing now, the preference of supplying the dealers in major markets compared to supplying dealers that are drop in the bucket markets like us.
Very long wait times.
Yeah.
My goodness, wow.
And if you see something you like right now, not even just with a car, and you can afford it, and it's something that you need or something that you may need in the foreseeable future, my advice is to buy it. Get your hands on it, get it now. I think we've seen that with building supplies. We've seen it with a number of places. Even in the food store, sometimes I might have to go to 3 or 4 places to find something that would be usually a very simple item to locate.
Yeah, it's crazy. A few months ago, you'd see a car, you'd come back 2 days later, gone.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at in terms of the number of days a car sits on a lot?
Very few now.
Yeah.
I had a guy come in there a couple of weeks ago, and he told me he had a second home in New York, and he said, your prices are okay, but I think I could beat it. He went to his dealer in New York. The dealer told him he had the vehicle in stock. He could buy it for full retail plus a $15,000 premium.
Wow.
Just to sell him the car, So that's if he even can get his hands on it.
Right.
So, yeah, when people come in a lot of cases now, and they seem to take their frustration sometimes out on us, there's some that understand and are aware, but there's others that'll come in and look at a vehicle. It'll take some time for them to get their affairs in order, which is normal. And when they get back and that vehicle's not there and you're telling them you don't know when you're going to see another one, sometimes people can get kind of irate. But like I mentioned earlier in the show, trust me, it's just as or more frustrating to us than it is to the consumer.
Yeah. Wow. If you have any questions, give us a call. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. We're talking with Ben Albury, the president of the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association.
I got a question.
Chester, yeah.
Are you still seeing a preference? I think you mentioned it before, but even with the way gas prices are going and stuff, you're still seeing a preference for larger vehicles?
Yeah. I mean, as many high-end, large, fully loaded, tricked-out SUVs I can get right now, I can sell every single one of them. It's crazy. It doesn't seem like that's become too much of an issue now, but I think in this country we're used to seeing outrageous and extremely volatile gas prices, especially in times like this where you have war and you have shortages and you have... So I think that we've sort of become... we complain about it, we're not happy about it, we don't like it, but I think that we've sort of become adapted some to seeing these volatilities.
Yeah. Do you think that will be the case if we get up to $8 like it has been predicted?
Some of the articles I've read said that the actual economies would crash or go into depression prior to it reaching $8. Is what they say. You know,
Yeah.
we've heard all our lives, oh, gas is going to go to $10. Oh, gas is going to go to this, but you know, the market will dictate the price again. And I think that if gas continues to climb, people are going to park their vehicles. They're going to park some of their toys. They may park their boat for a little while and not use it. So I don't know who's right or wrong, but like I said, I've read a number of articles, international articles lately that said that gas will be governed and, you know, it will hit a point where the economy will just go into a very deep mode of depression before it would hit that type of price tag. Who
My
knows?
goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business. Caller, are you there? Yes, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. All right, so this is an interesting question. You mentioned the 13-month time, lag time, maybe more. They're saying, so if that car comes, if that was a 2022 and it comes next year, will it be marketed as a 2023 model or 2022 model? What
It would be a
happens there?
2023 because manufacturers, we don't market it as a particular year. Manufacturers actually stamp it as that particular year. So yes, now the situation I'm in with that vehicle in particular is that Jeep has done an 8% first cost price increase on that vehicle. So now I'm sort of trapped in a situation where we gave a gentleman a price 13 months ago. We're seeing an 8% first cost increase, which could result in a 15% price increase by the time it hits here. But one thing I hate doing is giving somebody a price and then having to go back to them. So I am negotiating with the manufacturer to say, look, at least on this one, can you give me some sort of concession, and then maybe I'll make up some sort of the difference on my profit? Because I hate giving somebody a figure. I mean, under the circumstances, I guess a lot could be understood, but to go back to somebody after they're frustrated and waiting a year and a half and then tell them on top of that you got to pay 15% more, that's hard to swallow.
My goodness. All right, I have some questions on ordering, but we'll get to that after these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning, Dwight and Mr. Aubrey. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Okay, great. Interesting conversation. If only more merchants, period, were thinking the way you were thinking, Mr. Aubrey, we would have a better environment for all to be able to thrive or at least try to keep our head above water in. But as it relates to electric vehicles, I had a discussion with a friend of mine maybe three weeks ago. We were talking about electric vehicles, and I find it's tragic that we are talking about moving towards a clean environment. We are talking about trying to clean up our atmosphere and pollution and all those kinds of stuff. But we don't have complete exemptions on electric cars. I don't understand that. Is that something that you all are lobbying for, Mr. Aubrey?
Well, like I mentioned to Dwight earlier, I think that we would like to sit down with the government and look at a reform across the entire industry as far as the way that vehicles are taxed coming in. And as I mentioned, also with the cap that they have on electric and hybrid vehicles, I think that's
Hybrid,
something.
yes.
Yeah,
Hybrid also.
I think that's something that needs to be done away with because the cost of the technology is getting more and more expensive. And the cost of the vehicles. So I think that's something that, you know, this government seems to be pretty receptive and easy to talk to.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we will get, and as I mentioned, we have not asked yet in their defense, but I'm definitely interested in having that conversation with them, and it's something I hope that we'll have in the very near future.
If I can end on this point, Dwight, I'm also looking forward to the outcome of your conversation as a grouping, as the automotive grouping, when you all approach the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, and others involved with that decision-making.
Yeah.
Also, I found it to be a problem with trucks in particular, getting hybrid trucks in the later years, because when I was in the market looking for a vehicle, I wasn't able to find anything with modern years. The youngest I found was 2012, which was not, in terms of years of use, the best spend or best bang for my dollar. And so I'm hopeful that you all could influence that as well in terms of bringing in or looking to have made available to our local market, those hybrid vehicles in the truck and the SUVs, but the later years. Thank you for the opportunity. Continue to go work, Dwight. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I'm sure you'd prefer if you were looking at a new vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, we do sell used and we do sell new as well. I mean, there's the way I always looked at it. With used vehicles, for me, it's sort of a wash. I definitely am never going to get rich selling the used vehicles that I sell, but my hope is that if somebody comes into me and buys an inexpensive used car, usually it's a transitional thing, and at some point they're going to be looking for a new car or a newer car, or they may have a friend that they may talk to and say, hey, look, I just bought my car from Ben. He did a great job. I was very happy with Bahamas Bus and Truck. Why don't you go down there and check him out? So we do, we have to appeal. I sell a very broad range as far as inexpensive used cars, luxury cars, commercial vehicles. Here in the Bahamas, we're sort of unique in that we're multi-franchise dealers normally. In the States, you'd normally be a Ford store, a Nissan store. Here, because of the size of the market and the fact that it is so small, most dealers find themselves being multi-brand.
Right. All right, so you're saying with this long lag time, can buyers be, I don't want to say picky, but if you wanted your vehicle optioned a certain way, no, you're already shaking your head. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
you're looking for trouble if you wanted a certain color, interior, or this.
Exactly. That's a very, very good point. It's so funny that you say that because we've actually had our reps tell us when they will send an order in, look, they'll send it back and say, hey, I'd recommend tick, these items, take that off.
Wow.
Oh, you wanted this cream interior instead of the typical gray interior. I recommend you take that off. So the more comforts and the more features that you try to add, the more tailored you try to make the vehicle, it definitely has an impact on production. I guess this mind thought is if they can run off 1,000 of one that's alike, it's a lot more efficient for the production line than stopping and making one that may be a little more unique. So that's definitely something, and I've seen that in our buyers. They've come in now and said, hey, I was really hoping to get this. Right. And I had an order I placed the other day, and they came back to me and only gave me 3 color options. They said you can get silver, black, or white.
Wow. So people who want their dream car, this might be, the car they have for the rest of their time. What do you do?
Might be dreaming.
Oh, boy.
It's like I said, it's all over. It's not just here. So, it's not the typical scenario where you might say, well, I'm just going to go and get it myself.
Yeah.
You may go somewhere else and they're going to be having the same challenges. So that's why my point earlier was plan ahead. Prices are continuing to go up. I used to get a yearly price sheet from one of my manufacturers for this 21 model year or 20 model year. They've now revised that. I'm getting price changes pretty much monthly.
Wow.
Yeah, so the price that I'm using is not today. It has to be revised.
And does it go up every month? Or?
I have another supplier that will only honor quotes for 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I've seen where there's been drastic jumps in their prices. And there again, it comes down to how difficult it is for them to secure the components they need to produce. I see factories even right now. Somebody told me there was an article yesterday about a Toyota factory that was going into a sort of hold pattern because they just can't get the product.
All right, so this was because of COVID. I mean, what's happening in Europe now, what impact will this have on top of what we've been seeing?
If I'm to speak on my own personal opinion, Dwight, I almost wonder if some of this isn't by design. Just the whole process of everything that's gone on, the inflation, the lack of product, paying people to stay home in the U.S. for forever, all the small mom and pop businesses closing down. It's just so many things. And we are in a very global world, I understand that, but it's just, now with the war going on, it's definitely not going to do anything to help anybody's position. I say that, but then again, and if you look back in history, war usually does boost a lot of economies as well. So I guess like Churchill said, you never waste a good crisis.
Oh, dear. You see the phone lines lit up, but we are out of time. People want to talk to you. But we got to leave it there. Ben Aubrey, this is great. We need to have you back. regularly.
Yeah.
But thank you so much
Thank
for enlightening us on the challenges, and we've got a long road ahead of us, it seems.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. Well, good luck to you and good luck to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Keep us updated. Thank you very much.
Will do.
Appreciate it. Chester Robards.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Talk with you again next week. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.